Welcome back. Episode 24 of the REKAP Room. We're continuing with the trend of bringing on guests.
Yes.
Got a very special guest on today, a man by the name of Jake Johnson to my left, who came in. He was in Naperville today, but he lives up in Whitewater, Wisconsin. He's got a super interesting story. Jake and I met. I was texting Gordy and Sasha about this. I'm like, guys, I just found a guy on TikTok that we're having on the podcast that I just DM'd.
It's like one of the few TikToks I've ever posted.
Yeah, I know. And I'm
crazy.
glad it showed up on my page because I was like, this is somebody we need to have on. He's got a super interesting story.
Yeah.
We'll probably title it something like what it's about in the...
let's just clickbait title it.
Yeah, clickbait. Well,
Yeah.
you're good at coming up with
all
the
the
clickbait.
internet.
I just clickbait. Every title for the pod, I just clickbait just to get people
Well,
in it.
that's one thing I've noticed with all these podcasts. Like, every title is like, if it's like a health person on, it's like, do this or you're gonna die tomorrow.
Yeah.
So like, we're gonna come up with something. I don't know
How to
what
buy
it's
a
gonna-
golf course at 25 years old.
That's
Yeah.
exactly
do
it.
that. Yeah,
It's gonna be
you won't
something-
believe this, and then
Yeah.
it's just
That's how you do it.
That is how you do it. That is how you do it. So that kind of is a perfect segue of kind of starting off about your story.
Yep.
You're 25 years old.
I am.
Where are you from originally?
I grew up in Lake Villa,
Okay.
Illinois. Super small town, couple thousand people. It's about 15 minutes from Six Flags Gurney area.
That's a great way to put it.
I like
Because
that.
I feel like if people don't know where Lake Villa is,
It's-
everybody knows where
everyone knows where
Flags
Six
is.
Flags
That's
is.
like engraved into my mind.
Yeah.
It's 15 minutes from Six Flags because nobody knows what Lake Villa
Did
is.
you
Yeah.
take advantage of it growing up?
I hate roller coasters.
Hell yeah.
I'm with you on that one.
I hate roller
I'm with
coasters.
you.
I used
I'm
to get
scared
the
of
season
heights.
passes.
I'm not
Yeah.
scared.
Of course
I'm not-
you did.
I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm scared of heights.
Okay.
So-
Respect.
I think I've been to Six Flags twice,
Okay.
and one
I
of
like
them
that.
was for Fright Fest.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Oh.
You got to go for Fright
And the
Fest.
other was for like the water park or something. But
All right,
I've
fair.
never,
That's
I never
fair.
even stepped foot on a ride at Six Flags.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Can't say the same.
Yeah. Sasha was
Terrified.
I used
Sasha-
to get season passes.
season pass holder.
Yeah.
I won't hold it against you. So you grew up in Lake Villa.
Yep.
And you played football, correct, in high school, and then
played
all the way
football.
up until college.
Yeah, I played football and baseball actually growing up. Then I got into high school. I stopped playing baseball after my freshman year. And, you know, as I started growing and getting taller and bigger and stuff, I realized that football is probably where I was going to be
Smart
going
move.
to. You know, that's probably where I was going to be heading into.
Say
then-
football, and this guy's face lights up over
Yeah.
there.
So I played football all through high school. I received some college interest from some smaller schools, and you know, I fell in love with football, man, and I thought it was a great way to instantly build connections. You know, you're getting thrown into a team,
Right.
you know, so it's like it's different than like a frat in a different way because it's
Very
like
different,
you know
yeah.
you have built-in friends with your teammates and stuff. So
Yeah.
wanted to continue playing football, and that's what I did.
Yeah. So you continue playing football
Yep.
at North Central,
Yep,
which
North
is
Central
in
and Naperville.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, and when I went there, because now they're like some big name powerhouse. When I went there in 2018, it was not like
It was
that.
not
You were the start of something special for them.
Yep.
You could say that.
were the
my
building
class,
block,
my class,
you know
my
what?
class was
Yeah.
definitely. So when we went to North Central, they were always good. You know, they've been in the top 10 rankings before,
Yeah.
but they hadn't made it past the second round in years and years, like
Yeah.
5 to 6 years or something like that. And we got bounced my second round in the second round in 2018, my freshman
Yeah.
year, and then the following year, 2019, we had a stud quarterback. Got signed by the 49ers.
I thought you were going to say yourself.
No, you.
I'm like, this guy's a stud
Yeah,
quarterback.
come on.
Stud quarterback. He got signed by the 49ers. That's one of my buddies. And made a run, won the national championship, and the rest was kind of history.
That's
'Cause
awesome.
It's like once you win one, then all the good recruits
Yeah.
and the
They
talent
start
and
turning
stuff
their
like
head.
that,
For
sure.
That's when they're like, oh, yeah, we want to go there.
I wanna
That's
go there,
awesome.
yeah.
So now they've won 3 natties in 5 years.
3 and 5. You guys are a dynasty.
Yeah.
The dynasty.
That's
That is-
dynasty.
that
That's
is dynasty
literally.
level.
I got 2 of them.
Yeah.
You do have
That's
two.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
I got
so
2 of
cool.
them.
How? Wait. How
You
far?
should learn the
How far
rings.
can you throw a football?
55.
No, 60.
He's
60.
I gotta see your spiral. Like I just need to see one
55,
spiral.
55 accurately,
Come
60
on.
with some max distance.
Yeah.
Gordy's
you
gonna
got-
fall in love.
If I really get that.
Gordy's looking across the
I
table
love
right
that.
now. He's
I
just
love that.
because Gordy's just such a big football fanatic, I would say.
yeah,
Me
he'll just like complain to us about it, and we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is the first like I love all our podcasts, but this is the first one. Football guy.
Yeah, he's just
I'm a
he's
football
pro.
guy.
Yeah, like, it's
A football guy, but also turned golf guy because
Yep.
I guess you could. We've made it now to 2022, graduating college. What were you
Yeah.
studying in school?
Finance.
Finance.
Yep.
Okay, so finance, business makes kind of sense.
Yeah. So
Um,
North Central is actually like it's a gen ed school. So you know when you go to school like that, you're taking a lot of general education classes. So when you majoring in finance, you're taking a lot of business classes.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I took a lot of business classes. So same idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
So finance is what you were kind of leaning into.
Yep.
How the hell did you end up buying a golf course?
Yeah.
And you can kind of take us from
I say
the
run through it from the beginning.
start, but I just kind of wanted to drop that bomb because that's the obviously the reason and what struck me about your story.
Yep.
You're 25 years old and you own your own golf course.
Yep.
Like the process of that, I don't even know how to begin that. I mean, we're running our own business at 24, 25, but we're running a real estate team, real estate brokerage. It's not like we reinvented the wheel. We just are taking what has already existed and kind of putting our own spin on it. People own golf courses, but people don't own golf courses at 25. So tell me a little bit about that.
It all happened so quickly. It still doesn't really feel real, to be honest. So starting at the beginning, I graduated college. And it was after my 5th year of football at North Central. And I started in real estate.
Oh, interesting.
You guys didn't know that. I was saving it for the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So I wanted to be my own boss.
Yeah.
Wanted to make my own hours. Wanted to have control over my wages depending on how hard I'd work. So got my real estate license.
In Illinois or
in Illinois. Yep.
Okay.
So I signed with John Green, who's a
Yep.
family-owned real estate office in
Yep.
Naperville. And it was tough, as you guys know. It was tough, especially starting out, being young and trying to build a book of business. Trying to sell a mortgage when I've never had a mortgage.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard to get that selling point across to people.
Right.
Right.
So it was really hard. And, I was sitting in the office for months and months and didn't make a dime. Not my time. And so
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
It is.
It's tough.
I like that though. You're like, yeah, I decided to go into real estate. It was really challenging. So I decided to buy a golf course instead.
It was tough. And, the financial situation that me and my family were in during that time was tough. So, all this happened, a couple months after my mom passed. So my mom passed last semester of college. And, what people don't understand is that when like a tragic event like that happens, you think about the emotional grief.
Yeah.
But you don't think about all the other stuff that comes with it.
Right.
My mom was bringing in a large majority of the income for our household.
Yeah.
Right.
And my dad, who was working, 2 to 3 jobs at the time, was now by himself trying to provide for me, who was, just getting out of college, trying to make his own way, and my little brother, who was 19 at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was tough.
I'm
And,
sure.
So as a family, we had to come together, and I had to make some hard decisions of, telling my dad, like, hey, I think it's time to look elsewhere other than real estate. And, he put his trust into me, man, with what I was doing with starting my golf brand, which was Destiny Golf. And I thought that the best way to really jumpstart that startup golf brand was to try to get a golf course, which sounds harder than, which it did seem like a long shot goal
Right.
at the time, but we thought that was the best way to do it. And, we came together and we were like, all right, what do we got to do to get this going? A lot of pieces had to get put together.
For
lot
sure.
of pieces. We had to reach out to one of our old family friends who was a realtor in Wisconsin. He had his real estate license in Wisconsin, and he set up a visit for us at Spring Creek.
Okay.
And pretty much the rest was history, man.
Yeah.
It all happened so
Very
quickly that
fast.
it was like, it's really hard to believe.
For sure.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so timeline wise, when did you, I guess, like look at the property? When did you close on it? Was this all like
It took a long time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I figured.
It took a long time. So
Yeah.
I signed with John Green in March of 2023. And then that whole summer of 2023 is when I went online searching up golf courses for sale, and I found Spring Creek.
Which is in Whitewater, Wisconsin.
Whitewater,
Just so
Wisconsin.
everybody knows.
So, and I saw that it was an hour north of where I grew up,
Mhm.
right? And I saw that it was a 9-hole par 3 golf course, which I thought was perfect.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like entry level, if there is such thing as an entry level golf course, that would probably be it.
It literally was like the
aside
stars,
from a mini putt course.
It was literally like it was literally like the stars aligned perfectly.
Mhm.
Like it was so hard to describe. Like it was literally like it just got listed, just a couple months prior to that, and the scale of the golf course, where it was located, it being so close to my hometown, it literally felt like a match made in heaven.
right.
It
Right.
just felt like, I told my dad, I texted him the listing when I found it, and I was like, man, like if there's one, this has got to be the one.
Yeah.
This has got to be the one.
And so what kind of led you to golf? Like, were you a golf guy before, or was it just kind of something like, because obviously it sounds like you had the vision of this golf brand before
like
you
what
even had a
prompted
golf
that?
course. Yeah. What prompted that?
Yeah. So I actually started golfing in 2020, COVID, just like everybody else.
Everybody else was
Everybody was
golfing.
Just like
You
everybody
couldn't
else.
do much besides golf.
Like our football season got canceled, so there wasn't much doing going on, and I played in a golf outing with some of my cousins, and I was like, dang, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, and it's challenging, which obviously me being like as competitive as I am,
That's
I loved how competitive it
Mhm.
was, because it's not like you're so much competing against someone else.
Competing.
You're competing against a little white ball that you can't hit when it's standing still. It's not even moving, and you can't hit it. It's the
Coming
hardest
from a
game.
guy who played a sport where you have 200-300-pound men running at you.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
now transition to this
a
is like
little
this
white
is-
ball
Yeah.
that isn't moving, that was so hard to hit,
Yeah.
and it just like sparked like some competitive
Yeah.
like bone in my body, where I was like, dang, I really like this game, man.
Okay.
And when my mom passed, I really leaned on golf as like an avenue
Yeah.
to like escape from the real world,
Yeah.
So my mom passed in September of 22, and there was a driving range that was close by to North Central. It's about 5 minutes in Downers Grove, I think, and it was indoor heated driving range. So that whole winter, man, I was in there beating balls, trying to just get my mind off of
What was
whatever demons I had in my head. you know. I would be there, and it would be 2 degrees, and I would turn the heaters on in there, and I would just put some headphones in, listen to music, trying to clear my mind. That was when I really was like, man, this is something special, because it was such a mind clearing activity for me.
Yeah.
That it was like, I know that golf is a game that you can play forever. So you can literally play it for whenever, 70, 80.
And you see that, you
see that all the time.
People at the course.
And oftentimes the people that are 70, 80 are in really good shape because they play golf.
Right.
Because they're staying active.
Yeah.
They're outside. They're walking.
They're outside,
yeah.
walking, making swings. It's not a lot of physical activity, but
It's more
It's
than
something.
most.
it's
Yeah.
a lot. It's oftentimes, it keeps people younger. And
Yeah.
that's when I was like, man, this is something special. And, that's what I wanted to.
Kind of give you like that like light.
Yeah.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew football was over for me. I knew that there was going to come to a day where football wasn't an option anymore. And
Right.
I knew golf that was always going to be there.
Yeah. So that's really cool to see like how you come from golf kind of being this support system for you and this thing that you lean on while you're going through probably, I would assume, the hardest moment of your life.
Easily.
You know what I mean?
Yep, easily.
And like I can't even imagine that.
Yep.
And then seeing that, a couple years later turn into from just something that is a hobby, a passion, call it whatever you want, into something that's now a business that you own, that's also your job, that's providing income for you, and it sounds like your family. So tell us a little bit about, I guess, going back to where we were, like the process of identifying the property to actually closing on it, and like what that even looks like.
Yeah. So in my TikTok that you found me on, I kind of described it as I just went on Google, just like for any real estate listing that, if you're looking for an apartment or something, I just typed in golf courses for sale near me.
Yeah.
Sounds stupid, but it's
it's how
literally
you
popped up.
Do it, though.
It
Yeah.
literally popped up all the listings in the surrounding states.
And were there a lot of are there a lot of golf courses for sale usually?
I don't
know. Not really.
Yeah.
No, not really. And that's where it was like, I found that at Spring Creek, and then I saw it was in Whitewater, so close to my hometown, and I was like, man, that's got to be the one, because it's like they are rare, but so that's why I was like, this is where the opportunity that I got to take advantage of.
Right.
So I found it. I sent it to my dad, told him, this is perfect. Sent it to my real estate agent. We set up a visit, and it was everything that we dreamed of. Like, we saw the vision of the place. We saw some potential remodeling that could help boost some revenue at the place. We thought the financials were great for what it was. And I looked at my dad and I was like, hey man, this is what I want to do. And he was like, all right, then do it. And put together some financial projections, some business plans, proposals, presentations, and I presented it to just about every single person that
would listen
to me.
Yeah.
Got some no's, got a lot of yeses, and I took the yeses and I ran with it. My real estate agent put it the best way possible, because obviously my family, me and my dad, weren't in the financial position for us to support a loan that large, not even close. And my real estate agent, he said, look, man, he used the analogy. It's like putting together the pieces to a puzzle. This is what it's going to take. You're going to have to find the pieces to the puzzle to get this loan.
Right.
So those pieces were people. And I presented it to everybody that I thought would fit that piece to the puzzle. And, a lot of it were family. So I have a very large family.
Okay.
Very, very large family.
Okay. Good to know.
So
see, sometimes it does come in handy.
Yeah, it does come in handy. So my dad is one of 6.
Oh,
okay. So that's going to be a big family.
And they all grew up in Lake Villa.
Oh, wow.
And that's
half the
small town.
population.
You guys were like,
You guys are the whole town pretty much.
Yeah. Literally. So, we all grew up 10 to 15 minutes of each other. So my dad was one of 6. Obviously, they all had kids. And then my dad had us, me and my brother. And, me and my cousins, we grew up super, super close. Obviously living super close with each other. And,
that's really nice.
It was awesome, man.
Yeah.
I was super blessed and fortunate to have been born into something like that.
Have a support system like that.
Literally, I was born into built-in best friends
Yeah.
for all my cousins and family. And I knew that I had to utilize my family and my family's connections as anyone would.
Yeah.
And I presented it to a bunch of people. And I got 2 for sure yeses that I thought would be perfect candidates. And one of them is, follow along, my cousin's father-in-law.
Okay. We're following.
And
We're
then
going to need Ancestry DNA
and then-
sponsored video.
And then my dad's cousin's husband.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Got it.
Okay.
So in that TikTok, I got a lot of hate
You
because
did. I noticed that.
because
People were
everyone was
hating on you.
like, "Oh, family money. Oh, it's easy when your dad buys you a golf course."
yeah,
That is just
not
not
the
Yeah.
truth.
the financial
Welcome to
position.
like social media
Yeah.
comments or
I
nobody
know.
knows anything. They're just like, I have to hate.
And
I have
people love to, because then it gives them an excuse as to why they can't
Yeah,
perform.
it's
and they can't
justifying.
achieve
Right.
goals.
Justifying what they can't
But-
do.
Right.
And people that say that if they were in that same position, they would have done the same.
Right. Right.
So
So I got a lot of hate. It is what it is. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like
I would have been like,
that was probably like
That
my
would've killed her.
That was probably like my 5th or 6th TikTok that I
Would've
like,
sold the
ever
course.
posted, and it's got like 50, 60,000 views or
Yeah.
something.
love that.
And I was just like, you know what? Hey, views are views.
Yeah.
It's good for business. It's good
For
for my
sure.
personal brand.
You get exposure.
You
That's
get
great.
exposure.
Yeah.
But like those people have no
You own the
idea.
golf course and they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Those people have no idea the position that I was in
Right.
during that time.
Yeah.
Like, that was a very, very tough time for me.
Yeah.
It was within a couple months of my mom
Not
passing.
passing. Yeah. Like they have no
And-
clue.
They have no
You
idea.
went from like the lowest of lows
Yeah.
to just like building high.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
incredible.
So I got those 2 yeses, and we got together and we formed the business and got the loan, and then it was kind of like the rest was history.
Yeah.
The
How much % down do you have to put on a loan of something like that? 25% down?
25.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes
So
sense.
pretty normal.
And it was that to purchase the land and the business?
Yeah. So that's where it got super tricky. So the process took really long. So the whole process really started in the summer of 2023. And we were hoping to close in November of 2023 because
Okay.
we wanted to do some remodeling.
Yeah.
Such as like what? Like what type of
The
remodel?
clubhouse.
Okay.
The clubhouse was pretty old school.
Okay.
So the course in the clubhouse was like 35 years old.
Wow.
So it's pretty old. And they didn't really do much remodeling with it. So that's what, we wanted to make it ours too, where we wanted to make it feel like it was ours rather than someone else's. So
Right.
we just wanted to update it, modernize it a little bit. And we actually built a kitchen. So we didn't even have a kitchen before.
Nice. And that's an extra revenue source too, right?
Right.
Because now you can start providing food.
So we wanted to close in November of 2023 that year.
Yeah.
And banks hate golf courses. Like they hate golf courses because the flooding and all that stuff, where they know that if you get a lot of rain in a month,
you're going to have an issue.
You're going to have an issue because you're not making money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was tough to try to find a bank that was going to be willing to take on a loan that large for a golf course because of the liability behind it. But we were lucky to find a good lender.
Local bank, or was it like a bigger or larger bank?
Local,
yeah.
That seems in Wisconsin-ish.
Yeah. Tends
local.
to help if you can
the bigger banks are always harder.
Yeah.
They're
harder. It's harder.
More
to
red
convince
tape.
them, especially because typically they looked into our background a little bit about if we've ever owned a golf course before.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously not.
Right.
Obviously not. So
right.
They looked into a bunch of stuff like that, and we didn't really have like the background of doing that.
Yeah.
So it was tough to try to convince them that we can make this work. So that's where a lot of my financial projections came into play, because I had to present those to the banks as well.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is why it's going to work.
Right.
Why we'll be able to pay you to the bank.
And that's really what it comes down to.
Right.
They want to know that they're going to get, same way that you're looking to get a return on your investment, that's the same thing the bank's looking.
The banks are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
The banks are doing the same thing. So we wanted to close in November of 2023, and that just didn't happen. So the process took forever, and I knew, because I had faith in the Lord, that this was going to happen regardless, even though it hadn't happened yet. We hadn't had the closing yet. I moved up to Whitewater in February of 2024 before the deal happened.
Right.
Because I knew it was going to happen. I was putting my faith in the Lord that, we got this far, we're going to get it done. So in February 2024, I moved up to Whitewater before the deal closed, and the deal didn't end up closing until April 1st of 2024.
Wow. And that was just because going with the banks and
going back and forth with the banks. SBA was really hard.
Small Business Administration,
was really hard.
Yeah.
But we knew, we came together and we knew that it was going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of when. And obviously, going back to the financial situation, I was still not making any money.
Yeah.
Right.
And my dad, again, working 2 to 3 jobs, was trying to provide for me and my little brother. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was really, really tough. It was a really tough time.
Yeah. No, I'm sure.
It was a really super, super stressful.
Were the sellers during this time while you're going through this, they were like, who owned this property before? Was it like a family owned?
Yep. So it was family owned. Their name is Mike and Judy Majeski.
Okay.
They actually built it 35 years ago.
Okay.
36 years ago now.
Wow.
And, so they built it up from the ground up. And when we went on the visit, obviously, I think that I presented the idea that, it was going to be me as a younger guy with my father as my maintenance guy helping me along. And I think that they really liked the idea that it was going to stay family owned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely played a role for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
And they knew that they didn't want to sell it to some developer that was going to tear down their baby, because that was their baby.
Yep.
They didn't want some developer to come in, tear it down, and just build houses.
Yep.
They wanted to continue the
Legacy.
culture. Yeah, the culture, the traditions that they had going of it being family owned.
Mm-hmm.
And was it a somewhat profitable business before, or was it definitely okay?
Yeah.
So you were buying, even if you had done nothing with it, it still would have made theoretically financial sense, but there was room for value to be added through different avenues. I could see, obviously, by upgrading the clubhouse and providing food.
Yeah, providing food, and we're building some, pickleball, volleyball courts, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
Smart.
Yeah.
College kids.
Were you the only ones going for that property, or were there other competitors?
No, there was other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was other people, but I think that the impression that I made on the old owners helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot.
Let that be a lesson for anybody who's listening. It's not always for some people, it always comes down to just money and who's going to give them the most or what but for a lot of people too, like there's an emotional component.
Oh yeah, the highest offer is going to be the best
like
offer.
especially with
100%.
I know with my family home, like my mom, when we go to sell a house, is going to want to make sure that the people who buy that like house are going to treat it like a family home.
Yeah.
Because there's such an emotional connection to it.
There's sentimental value.
Right.
There's sentimental value in that. And that's why I chose you guys.
It's the same thing when we sold our house. They sold it to like a friend.
Yeah.
Like they know, we know who lives in that house. They still go visit, which is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. And
First impressions matter, man.
They do. And you don't get a second chance at that.
When I walked into the clubhouse for the first time to take the visit, the old owner was sitting behind the bar working. I went up to him, shook his hand, and I told him my story about my mom passing and how this was something that I really wanted to do and take on. And my father was going to be along with me, helping me along the way to ease the process.
Yeah.
And, I think that really left a really good impression on him.
For
and
sure.
He trusted.
I mean, the story's making me tear.
Yeah.
Me chills. I mean, it's crazy.
He trusted me, man. And so that's where it was like, it was such a big deal because, we had the contract and everything for the deal to close in November of 2023 that year. He could have walked.
Yeah.
Many times he could have walked and found different offers, but he wanted it to be me so bad that he stuck around to the point where, me and him built actually a really good connection. He started calling me Junior. So, I mean,
Are they so they still live up in that area?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They still come around all the time.
Nice.
Yeah. He gets a lifetime membership.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He
definitely
deserves it.
one.
He deserves a lifetime membership there.
Because he could have walked. I mean, he had many reasons to walk.
Yeah.
For the deal not closing for months and months.
Yeah.
And, we leaned on each other, me and him, and we were like, man, this is something that we both want to do. He wanted it to be me, and I wanted it to be me.
Yeah.
So it was like, we just kind of made it work.
Yeah. I think it's a really good, just a good story and lesson in resilience, battling through adversity, even in times this is such a difficult time in your life.
Yeah.
And it's really not that far removed. I mean, we're talking about it like it was 10 years ago.
No,
I mean,
a year ago?
It was a year ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so tell us that first year of ownership, of owning this course, what did that look like? What was on the agenda of first things that you wanted to get done? And has it lived up to the potential that you expected? Where are some pitfalls that have kind of gone through the process?
A lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
A lot of mistakes.
Could imagine.
A lot of mistakes. Especially.
It's not exactly a blueprint for how to own a golf course.
Nope.
Yeah.
A lot of mistakes were made. And, the relationship that I built with the old owner obviously helped a lot because he really eased the process of helping me with a lot of things. But I also told him too, where, I needed to make mistakes because that's the best way to learn is when you make mistakes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get thrown into the fire with the wolves because that's when I felt like I was going to learn the best
for
and
sure.
really start to thrive was when I got, you touch the hot stove.
Yep.
And that's when
you don't touch the hot stove again.
You don't touch it again. So it was tough because, we closed April 1st and that's golf season.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Because that's why you wanted to close in November.
November.
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
So that's literally getting thrown into the fire with the wolves.
Yeah.
Literally closing and taking over ownership April 1st, the start of golf season.
Right.
So golfers are starting to come in. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Truthfully, seriously. I mean, I had to try to set up all the POS systems.
POS is what?
Point of sale.
Point of sale.
Point of sale. So the bar, the drinks,
right.
The tee sheet, everything.
And did you keep the current employment, like the employees that were there?
So
before?
a lot of the employees stuck around, thankfully. They really helped too. Obviously knowing their way around the course.
Of course, yeah.
It was kind of the same thing where it was like, I wanted to make it my own. So I didn't really want to do things the exact same way that the old owner did it because it didn't feel like mine.
Yeah.
Where it was like I was going there and I was following someone else's blueprint,
right?
Which is what I didn't want. I didn't want to work for someone else.
Yeah.
And it's not that I was working for someone else, but it felt like it because I was going to work following someone else's plan.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you built it on your own there.
Right. So for a couple weeks starting out, I kind of did. I really took his advice and stuff like that. But as I grew closer with the community and the members that have membership there. You know, they started to trust me more to take on some of the changes that I wanted to, and some employees stayed, some left.
Some left. Yeah.
What kind of changes did you?
So they were the old owners were very old school. You know, they had the old school cash register.
Yeah.
and stuff- and
I know
stuff
exactly what you're talking
you know,
about.
stuff like that. So I just wanted to have some upper technology.
Yeah.
You know, technology is your friend
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah.
except when it's not.
Yeah.
But
Can definitely streamline and make things a lot more efficient. You know.
100% with reports and all that
Yeah.
stuff, financial reports and all that stuff. Technology helps so much. But just upgrading like the point of sale, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Was super important, which was also hard for you know, a lot of the old employees, because you know, there's something new that they had to learn.
That they had to learn.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just a little bit of a different process.
Right.
So that was tough for some of them, but
For sure. And I saw you added like, do you have like an outdoor area where you host like, I don't know, is that like events or like,
Yeah.
I saw you had like a band there or
Yeah,
something. So
yeah.
what is
So
that about?
there's a really nice pavilion, and
Okay.
it has a nice little band stage.
Yeah.
Really nice patio that overlooks like a fountain.
Yeah.
Golf course. So
So it sounds like you're trying to turn this like it's more than just a golf course.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
like what you've tried to build with it
Yep.
and really lean into is that there's a golf course component to it.
Yep.
But there's the pavilion for entertainment. There's the clubhouse
Right.
where we have food. There's
Yep.
obviously you said you're adding like volleyball and pickleball courts. So it's like a
Like a
gathering,
social
like-
club.
right?
Yeah. So the name is Spring Creek Golf Center. It's not
Yeah.
Spring Creek Golf Course.
Yeah.
And the golf center, you know, we're really trying to make it more almost like a recreation center
Yeah.
where there's a bunch of different stuff. It's not just a golf course. We don't want just golfers to come and play golf. We want the whole community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
And what is the like? Tell us about the community in Whitewater. Is it a very like small town?
So,
is it like
yeah.
like,
So the golf course is it's in between Whitewater and Fort Atkinson. Whitewater is predominantly college kids.
Mhm.
It's obviously UW Whitewater's super big school. So Whitewater, I get a lot of the college kids who are staying in town for summer vacation. During the fall, they'll come golf on nice fall days. But and then Fort Atkinson is a lot of the older crowd, my regulars, mostly my members.
yeah.
So it's kind of like both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Kind of.
It's kind of nice though.
It is nice. Yeah, it is nice. So I live in Whitewater, which is obviously the college town. You know, I have just a little apartment just to lay my head at night. I've only been out in Whitewater once.
Yeah.
One of my friends that came visiting me, that was the only time I've ever been out in Whitewater.
So it sounds like while you're up there, you're just like grinding. Like you're
I'm
up
at the
there.
golf course every day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's exhausting, but it's also like I have a dog, Cash, and I take him to work with me.
That's
Yeah.
What kind of
perfect.
dog?
A Bernie Doodle.
Oh,
He's my little boy.
yeah. That's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
That's
Love
so.
it.
Su-
That's
That's
So
so.
amazing.
I
Nice.
take him to work with me.
Yeah.
And it's like that's like my biggest lifelong goal is if work doesn't feel like work, then you're doing something right.
Yeah.
100% agree. Like, I think the older I get too, like the more I realize and value the things that you can't put a price on.
Yeah.
And like
yeah.
sometimes the most valuable things you can't put a price on. Like
No.
being able to bring your dog to work and not feel like you're working and do any of that. It's like whether or not the year's up or down or something, it's like that's a W. Like that's a
Yeah.
win. That's a victory.
my dad's like my head maintenance guy. So my dad has he's a general contractor, so that's what he did.
Okay.
growing
Okay.
up. So that's where
That's
a lot of-
helpful.
I was gonna
That's-
say that's good to have on
That's
hand.
good value right there. Yeah.
Right. So that's where a lot of like the remodels came was from, you know, obviously him handling the general contracting it.
Yeah.
and his guys
Yeah.
working on the job. But when I go to work and I'm hanging out with my pops and my dog, that's not work, man.
Yeah, that's
That's
Yeah.
not work.
So is your dad there full time then at the course pretty much?
Pretty much.
Okay.
So he's like my head maintenance guy. So
Yeah.
he handles a lot of the grounds crew. Like he maintains and is the guy for the grounds crew to go to. He's like the superintendent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess you could say. But he still does general contracting work.
Okay.
He
Nice.
still flips homes and he's starting to in Whitewater.
In
now.
Whitewater.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Great.
So was
That's-
this like his first time like with a golf course? Being, I got to be in a golf course.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. It was a big learning process for us.
Yeah.
Us both.
Yeah.
Because I mean you don't think about the different types of grass, the maintenance, the fertilization, when to pour water down, when to mow the greens.
Right.
There's a lot of
when you put seed down.
And it's a lot of land. I mean, just logistically, it's a lot of land.
64 acres of land.
Wow.
That's
huge.
That needs to be maintained. And it was like I said, a big learning curve for
I'm
me and
sure.
him, both him learning more about the maintenance side of it and me learning about the business side of it while also trying to learn the maintenance side.
How
of it.
did the I get the members and the people at the course and at the club, like, I guess, react or respond? Like, how was that process
question.
when you bought
That's
it?
a good question.
Yeah.
Well, they're very supportive.
Good.
In the beginning, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, who was this young?
Because you're 25. And they're like, what's this? Like,
You know, I think when I took some visits and they saw me, you know, they thought I was just some snobby
rich kid,
some snobby daddy's money.
Yeah.
Daddy's money.
Yeah.
Same thing with the TikTok.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, because they were, you know, in that area of Wisconsin, it's a lot of blue collar workers. So they see me and my dad, who was driving a big red truck, and they were like, "Oh, these big bad guys from Illinois."
Yeah.
You know?
They call them fibs up in Wisconsin. You know what? Yeah.
Fibs.
No, what is that?
Effing Illinois bastards.
Yeah, fibs.
They do not like Illinois people.
Yeah, that all the time.
Yeah, you're a fib. Yep.
So they, you know, they thought I was just some snobby white rich kid.
Right.
Snobby fib.
Then they got to know me and my dad, and you know, they heard our story and they saw how genuine that we were, and how much we cared about making this place even more special than it already was, and they bought into it.
And you know what? Like, them seeing you there day in, day out, your pops there, like,
that's
you're gaining trust.
Like,
you're gaining trust.
Yeah.
You're gaining trust.
The proof
it's
is in the
different
pudding.
than, you know, just buying the place and having someone else run in. You're not ever there.
And you know what? Like, to me, it's like, those people probably want to see you succeed even more because of that.
They do.
Yeah.
You know, because
They
it's
do.
like,
Sweet.
I don't know. There's just something to be said about that. And I think we all, like, there's one thing about America, is that we love a good story.
Yeah.
You know, like, we love, especially in, like,
I do have a side question. So it might not even be about the golf course, but you said you wanted to start a brand.
Yeah.
So you said that the golf course was kind of your first step into that.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about the brand and why you named it what you did.
Yeah, so Destiny Golf, it's kind of the idea of how I used my mom's passing as a gateway to clear my head. I used golf.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that Destiny was me reaching for my destiny through the game of golf.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So that's how I started it. And I'm working on apparel. We got head covers next, and I sell it all out of the pro shop. So it's kind of like a partnership.
Yeah.
So, you know, people that are supporting Spring Creek that have been for the last 35 years are now repping Spring Creek Destiny golf stuff. And now people around the community are starting to wear Destiny golf stuff. And that's where it's just slowly, you know, you slowly start to see expansion.
Yeah.
So
that's incredible. So, like, what's your, if you had to say, I know it's such a tough question because people ask me this all the time. Like, what's your 5-year vision? Like, what? I'm like, I just wake up every day and try to figure it out. You know, like, I don't have, if you would have told me 5 years ago, this is what my life would look like, I'd be like, okay, like, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess if you could answer that, like, what kind of general direction do you want to be taking between the course and the brand? I guess you can kind of divvy up that into 2 questions.
So Spring Creek's been twice named the top 12 par 3 golf course in the United States some odd years ago. And obviously my goal is to get it back into that top 12 ranking.
Okay.
I want it to one day be the number one par 3 golf course in the United States. It has the potential. I mean, it's a really nice course.
Yeah.
The upkeep we keep really good care of it. The previous owners did really good job of upkeeping it. So we always make sure that it's in tip top shape, and we hope that all the other amenities that we are adding can help us boost into that realm. I also think that me help, starting to build my personal brand and getting Spring Creek's exposure out there, will be able to
absolutely,
start boosting us up into that conversation. So, your question within 5 years, I mean, I hope to have that within that ranking for sure. From the Destiny Golf side of it, there really is no limit. The sky's the limit. I just hired a person who's my director of operations. He graduated from Whitewater last year. Yep. So he's my director of operations, who is kind of the guy helping me expand Destiny Golf, just because there's so much stuff on my plate.
Yeah.
That
You can only do so much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure your days. Yeah.
the past year, where we just took over, and I was hoping to have Destiny Golf higher and more established than
Right.
But I look back and it was like I couldn't.
Right.
There was no time. Like
Right.
there's only so much time in a day where I could focus on Destiny Golf stuff while trying to maintain
Run
this
the
golf
business.
course.
Yeah.
It's just impossible. So that's why hiring Riley, who's my director of operations, that's going to help so much.
For sure.
Because now his sole focus is going to be trying to grow it as best as possible. And it's what I told him too, because he's a young guy. Look, man, sky's the limit for you too.
Right.
Yeah.
You're getting in on something while you're young, and
you're getting paid a salary, but there really is no limit on where you can take this, because it's just me and you right now.
Right.
I have some camera crew kids that go to Whitewater that help me with content and all that stuff, but he's really the first Destiny Golf sole employee.
Yeah.
That's going to help me try to build this and eventually start a team and continue to grow.
and turn that into more of like a golf lifestyle brand.
Brand. Yep. So it's trying to, promote the idea of a more relaxed golf style.
Yeah.
And to coincide with the par 3 9-hole golf course,
which I think is,
I love that. I don't think they have anything like that right now. Everything is like very like pro golf,
like t-shirts,
intense.
T-shirts and stuff like that. So within 5 years, I hope it explodes.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
sure.
I mean, we're going to a trade show in Milwaukee in mid-March. It's gonna be our first one, and then it's just keep going from there.
Amazing.
Reaching out to other golf courses through my connections. So like now that I can be a part of golf course owners of Wisconsin, they call it GCOW.
Okay.
I can be a part of that group, and now it's promoting Destiny Golf and getting that name out to them. So now that they're going to be more likely to purchase Destiny Golf stuff for their pro shops. That's just how you grow there. You start local and you just keep expanding.
Keep expanding out from there. Yeah, no, that's super cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Like I think what's unique about all of it is just the story behind it. You know what I mean? I think that's really what speaks to people.
Yeah.
And people, when they buy a brand, that's really what they're buying. They're buying the story behind it. They're buying what it represents. You just look, that's just the way I see it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think that's what resonates most with people, because there's so many options, right? Like
there's so many.
The golf space, it's
so many.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, like tons of brands, tons of well-established companies from all sorts.
We're in the day and age of, with internet and online, there's competitiveness in every industry that there is in this world.
Right.
And I think that there's always room in any industry if you work hard and put your mind to it. It sounds cliche, but it's so true.
It is.
It's so true. Like, you just have to work harder than everybody else.
Yeah, that has to be your competitive advantage.
It's a dog eat dog world.
Yeah.
You have to have that competitive edge.
Yeah.
In order to assert yourself in an industry like that.
And I think that's a big reason. Like you could tell you were an athlete by the way you talk.
Oh yeah. I mean,
well, because I think that athletes, I always say this, that like athletes make a lot of times, they make the best entrepreneurs because they've just, you've learned a lot of the same life lessons just a lot earlier on of, teamwork, battling through adversity, how like discipline, like how, there's
competitiveness.
You were waking up early in the mornings, going to bed late at night after workouts, practices, while, the friends that aren't.
And those 5 a.m. lifts.
Yeah. Humbles you.
Those were no joke.
Yeah.
Those were harder than what I'm doing.
Right.
Seriously.
And like the ones who haven't gone through that, like they'll learn that eventually, but they're going to have to learn it later on.
Yeah.
And I just feel like when you can learn those lessons earlier in life, it just sets you up and makes you better prepared for when you have to get into the real world and you're running a business.
And that's ultimately why I think I chose to play college football. Honestly, I knew that it was a smaller school, and I just thought that the life lessons that I learned through sports, it wasn't something that I was ready to give up.
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to try to take it as far as I could with learning and growing and connection building. And, I think that everything that happens in life happens for a reason. Truthfully.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
No, and I
The
think
good and the bad and the ugly.
The good,
it all
that-
happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. Everything that you go through growing up to now has happened, and that's why you are where you are.
Yeah.
Is because of all those events.
Yeah, and what a mature outlook to have, especially going through what you've gone through in the last
It's such a young
5 years.
I feel like
you
it's
know,
easy for
like,
people to kind of throw in the towel.
Yeah.
But it's a testament to who you
or
are.
and use it as
keep
an
pushing.
excuse, you know.
Yeah.
And I could tell you're not that type of person at all.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Like no victim mentality,
Nope.
no like
Nope.
feeling sorry for yourself. It's
Nope.
like
Nope.
this is what like it may suck.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it wasn't
Life
easy.
sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life sucks.
Life does suck. Yeah.
Life sucks. It does. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of bad things that happen to good people, but that's just life. And
Yeah.
that's business and entrepreneurship
Mhm.
is life can sometimes be unfair, but you have to work harder than
Yeah.
the average person.
Fair. I heard a good quote. It was like fair is a 4-letter word. That's it. That's all it
Yeah.
is.
And
It's
you know, it's
nothing really is
it's
fair.
it's unfortunate, and you know, some people are born into situations that give you an upper leg.
Yeah, and some
and-
don't.
But that's life.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
unfair.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's like something doesn't have to be your fault for it to be your responsibility.
Mhm.
Correct.
Is really what it comes down to. You
You
know,
know,
like
we are blessed to live in a country where I believe in the American dream. And I truly believe that anybody can accomplish anything that they want.
Right.
You just have to go do it.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah,
to go
true.
put yourself in uncomfortable positions to get into that
right.
situation
Right.
that you want to be, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Everyone's goals are different.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone's idea of success is different than the other person.
Yeah.
What is your vision of success? And whatever it is, you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions
Yeah.
to go do that.
Yeah. I
We
Couldn't
all
agree
more.
completely agree with
we
you.
all-
Because I think
yeah.
we've all had this conversation with each other
yeah.
too.
Especially as young entrepreneurs.
Yep.
It's tough because, you know, you can feel a lot of jealousy and envy from older people
Yep.
that will maybe look back and be like,
I wish
"Man, I wish I did that."
Yep.
Yeah.
There's
I wish-
always that.
There
Always.
always is going to be that.
Always.
But
Yeah.
there's always going to be the couple older people that will help you and take you under,
Yeah.
you know, their wing.
Their wing, yeah.
And instead of the jealousy and envy, it's more of like,
I want to help.
I
Yeah.
I want
wanna
to see you
help.
grow.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
see you grow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think the first one outweighs. the-
it does.
The
It
latter.
does. It does.
And
But-
that's
But
just
if you can
that's just-
overcome that, oh my God.
Mhm.
The sky is the limit for what you can do.
yeah, truthfully. So,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So I
It
guess
all kind of is based on your outlook.
yeah.
It is.
I think that's the
yeah.
basis of everything.
Yeah,
You've said
because-
that to me several times.
Yeah.
I've definitely had like rough patches where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm lost and things like that.
things
so.
aren't working. It's like if you can come out. I mean, at the end of the day, like the circumstances are the circumstances, but you have a choice of the way you want to look at it. You can look
Yeah.
at it like, hey, this is what it is, and I'm going to figure out
Yep.
how to make it work in my favor. Or you can look at it and be like, woe is me, my life sucks, and I'm not
Yep.
going to be able to do it. I mean, think about how long it took from contract to close on that
Yep.
property. Like
Yeah.
so many people would have thrown in the towel at that point. You know,
Totally.
so many
Mhm.
people would have, after their mom would have passed away at 22 years old or 23 that you were like,
Yeah.
I mean, it could have, and you see it happen, wipes people out for the rest of their life. Like the rest of their
Yeah.
life, they can't bounce back. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's because they're weak or there's anything wrong with them, but it's, you know, it's just all about the perspective and the mindset that you have behind it. I could tell faith plays a large role
Yep,
in your
for
life
sure.
by the way you talk.
Everybody handles grief differently.
Yeah.
Especially when young people, when
Yeah.
tragic event happens to a young person, everybody handles grief differently. And, you know, with the support of my father and my huge family, like I said, that's why family plays such a huge role in
Mhm.
my life with the morals and values that it taught me. You know, as dark as it sounds, the sun is going to come up the next morning.
Yeah.
And that's what I realized is, you know, the day that my mom passed, as hard, it was the hardest day of my life. You know, I woke up that night with nightmare that it didn't feel real. But guess what? I woke up the next morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got to go back to
Gotta keep going.
Got to keep
Gotta
going.
do it.
And that's what she would have wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure she's looking.
Yeah, and
Just
so
proud of
proud.
you.
Yeah,
And that's-
oh, for
done.
sure.
That's truthfully
Yeah.
that's truthfully what it is. I mean, it's, you know, I live every day through her, and I try to make her proud. And
But I think it pushes you even harder. Like,
oh
it
yeah,
makes you
and it
even
has.
better, you know?
Yep,
Yeah.
it has. I started before that, I would have never thought I would get into journaling, but I started journaling
amazing.
and writing stuff down and writing down my thoughts. And some of it were not good thoughts, but sometimes you need to get that stuff out, man. You know, that's where, you know,
you can't just bottle it up and keep it.
No, and that's why, you know, I really found my passion for golf. As much as I loved golf before, that was really where my level and love of golf grew. Was through that, because that's really where I found like my mental clarity. Going and hitting balls until 10 o'clock at night. You know,
and now being able to pass that on to so many other people through what you're doing with the golf course and Destiny Golf. So I guess in kind of wrapping this up, what's one final thing? I guess a lot of the people that listen to us that are followers of our stuff are people that are younger. A lot of them have an entrepreneurial I don't know, mindset, or potentially they're either already doing it.
They're thinking about scratching.
Or like that's where their mindset is, because that's how we are, and those tend to be the type of people we attract. So like what's some like a piece of advice that you can kind of leave with the audience of I guess you kind of take it in whatever direction you want to take it.
I don't want to sound like some blue pill, red pill. But like while we're young, this is the time and advantage that we have, is while we're young. Before we someday have a wife or a husband and kids and a family to take care of, while we're young, this is the time that we have to take advantage of what we are given. Because when you get old and you have a family counting on you for financial reasons, this is the time to take risk on yourself while we're young. This is what I tell everybody that's young, and all my friends. When you get the average person, you know, you're taught to go to college, get a degree, and work a 9 to 5. And I'm not saying that that's not a good way to go about living. That's where you know, we fall into, you know, this is just the norm.
This is the way you go.
That's just the normal in society. And that's where I was going. That's what I was doing.
That's where we were all going.
I was going to be a financial and analytics guy and just work a 9 to 5 desk job. And
next 50 years.
And like that just personally didn't sound appealing to me.
Right.
I didn't want to retire at 60 when I could barely move after the years of playing sports.
Kids have already grown up at that point.
Kids have already grown up. Like, I wanted to be able to live a life that I wanted to live in my 30s and 40s with my kids and have financial freedom.
Because you made sacrifices.
Because I made the sacrifices while I was young.
Yeah.
And, you know,
I resonate with that a lot.
A lot of people our age, they want to go out and party, you know, go to the club, go out, drink, smoke, do all that stuff, but they don't want to take the risk of living the life that they want to live, so that when they're 30 or 40 and they're stuck, they're going to be looking at me who took the risk while we're young, and I'm not going to have any regrets.
Yep. And ironically, those people who look at what you're like, not taking the risk in their 20s, they've actually taken the biggest risk, because they're risking
their future
of looking back with regret, and B, pretty much solidifying that they're going to have to be, you know, the hamster on the wheel for a lot longer than they, you know, otherwise could have been.
A lot of people try to get into it too late.
Yeah.
Yep.
By that time, they already have a wife or husband, kids that are counting on them financially to put food on the table.
Yeah.
And you can't afford to not take home that income. And take the risk.
100%.
And take the risk that you need to in order to grow and build a business.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys have all been there. When you're not making money, it sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It sucks.
And it sucks a lot more.
But it's good that, like,
exactly. It sucks a lot more if you can't bring home and put food on the table for your son.
Yeah.
That sucks a lot more.
Yeah.
I know I haven't done it yet, but I know that sucks a lot more. I watched my dad do it.
Right.
Him trying to work 2 to 3 jobs to support for me and my little brother.
No, for sure.
That's a lot harder and sucks a lot more than doing it now in your early to mid, even late 20s to go out and take that risk.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Gamble on yourself.
100% agree with all three of us.
You got to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what this
now's
world's
the
about.
time, because there's
that's what the world's about is betting on yourself.
Yeah.
put yourself in uncomfortable positions.
And people betting on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that they work in tandem because people see how much faith and trust you put in yourself and how much confidence you have in what you're doing. I'm sure at times it doesn't necessarily feel like it. You wake up in the mornings, because I know for me, it's like I sometimes wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my God, like I don't even know what next step is. But at the end of the day, like you do have a level of confidence to go out there and do something like that. And I think people see that and in return kind of have that trust in you. So
this is what I learned at a young age. If you don't have confidence in yourself, then who is going to have confidence in you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
My dad was my football coach growing up. And, I played quarterback, whatever. So in youth football, I was like 9 years old. And I went into the huddle and I would try to tell the play and I'd have no confidence because I didn't know what I was talking about. He pulled me aside and he was like, look, even if you don't have confidence, you have to fake it.
Yeah. Because then people will trust you.
Because then people start to trust you and have confidence in you.
Especially in that role. You're a quarterback. You're giving the play. You're
people
the one
are
that starts
looking at
the
you.
ball.
People are looking at you. And that's same thing with the real world, man. If you want to assert yourself into the world of success, whatever that looks like, there's going to be eyes on you. And you essentially, even if you don't truly have it in you, you fake it until you make it.
Yep.
So true.
That's the truth.
At least for us, when we first got in, Michael got in 2 years prior to me and Gordy.
Yep. You have to fake it until you make it.
Yeah. There were times where I was like, I have no idea the answer to any of these questions. He was like, just say it with your chest.
Yeah. Literally. If you say it wrong in the most confident way possible,
they'll be like, you're right.
People will believe you.
It's unbelievable. Yeah.
And
for better or for worse.
Have faith and trust in you.
Yeah.
Especially in the real estate world when you're trying to present, you're at a showing or something like that. You have to be confident about it. You have to be like, okay, this is why I think that you're a perfect fit for this place.
Right. No, 100%.
You have to assert yourself.
I think you're right. I think the hard work too, like people gain that. The more effort you're putting into them or to the golf, to the people there, they see that. They're like, damn, like he really does or she does care.
Yeah.
Yeah. That definitely comes through because you can definitely tell when, we work in tandem with other brokers as well, and you can tell when they care.
Yeah.
And you can definitely tell when they don't care too.
Yeah. and they don't even need to say a word.
Yeah.
So much of communication is nonverbal.
Right.
So, but this was
wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us.
I know
your story is incredible.
I know it was a little bit of a trek to come out here, but I think people will really enjoy hearing this story. I think it fits in very well with what we're trying to portray and kind of present with our podcast. And we'll be linking tell people where to find you. I guess you're not huge on social media.
No, I'm not huge at all.
Like
I said, I've only posted a couple videos.
Yeah, so we'll tag you in all of our stuff, but I guess you post on a little bit on TikTok, Instagram.
Yeah, so my personal account is just all Jake9 Johnson. Obviously, I have the Destiny Golf social media pages as well. I have a couple of Spring Creek Golf social media pages as well. So you can find me just about anywhere.
Yeah, nice.
But I'm less than a year into this, so like I'm a newbie on the block.
Hell yeah,
I don't know what I'm just trying to share my story and hopefully motivate some other people and just show other people that, you can accomplish anything that you want if you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
I think you've left us with a little bit of a fire under our
ass.
Sure.
Yeah. Selfishly, that's another reason why I like doing this, because we get to talk with cool people who motivate us. Yeah. So it was a pleasure having you on. Thank you. We'll be sure to tag you on all of all the socials. Make sure people know where to find you. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Oh, you were great.
Yeah, that was great.